welcome to my channel. So for today's video, we're going to be using these, I believe they're vintage Grumbacher artist soft pastels. So they're chalk pastels is essentially what a soft pastel is, versus an oil pastel or a hard pastel, a hard pastel. Which a good example of those would be these that we used in a previous video. This was a gift from my brother. This is an example of an oil pastel or a hard pastel. And these are soft pastels that I got at the thrift store for 99 cents, which was a steal of a deal. I believe these are vintage. I did take a look at these when I bought them, as well as just a moment ago to see if I could find a date. I cannot find a date on them. But it does have like a lot of little brochures in it. So this one says, notice these finest quality pastels are subject to breakage despite careful packaging. Breakage in no way affects the usability of pastels, as most professional artists prefer to work with pieces of various sizes. Which is true. A lot of times when you get brand new pieces or brand new sets, they will be broken as well. This says, save your art from smudge, fingerprints, and abrasion. Which, by the way, I love the way they demonstrated this with the smudging, the fingerprints having fingerprints around it, and the abrasion having little marks. Fixatives, yes. But again, no date. And then this, I think, is really kind of cool. And I feel like if anything were to have a date on it, it would be this, but I still didn't see one. Grumbacher Art Library books, which I think is actually really, really cool. And I actually have a few of them from a media store not too far from me called McKay's. There's a few locations, most of them are in Tennessee. Oh, they are. Published by Grumbacher, Palette Talk. So these are vintage little booklets or magazines. And I just think they are the coolest thing. I don't really have a need for them. I just think they're really cool. Unfortunately, this one was folded. But the earliest I do have these in, well, I had these in order at one point. So we've got 1983, 1983, 1982, 1982, and 1982. Or wait, do I have these just in backwards order? No, I didn't have these in order at all. And then 50. At one point I had them in order, but I think when I was moving stuff around, they kind of got out of order. But that is also something vintage Grumbacher I have that I thought was pretty neat. And honestly, I didn't even think about it when I was kind of planning the video until I saw the, wait, Grumbacher books. I have those and they were right here. None of these in here are what I have though. These are the art of kinds of books, and mine are kind of artists talking about how they work and what they do. If you guys want more of a video going through those, since they're vintage, I don't think they sell those particular ones anymore. I would feel comfortable showing you guys if you wanted a bonus video with something like that in it. And then the next, and I believe final sheet, is color swatch. But I didn't want to color swatch it itself because, again, I'm pretty sure this is vintage. I would say at least 80s personally, but again, no date. These are the colors it has in it. It is a set of 30. And again, they're half length, so they're going to be short. Let's try and carefully take this off. Oh, look at that rainbow. I know that's just from holding them down and protecting them, but that's kind of cool. And yeah, a few of them are broken. We've got these two greens that are broken. This pale skin tone, what looks like an ochre. This deep red are broken. None of the top seem to be broken. But I do have a sketch already drawn out. Just a very simple dandelion sketch. So I figured that would be good for jumping into oil pastels since I haven't played with them since high school. Let's jump into it. Let's see. I think this would be good for the... Oh, they are dusty. Dusty, dusty. I'm gonna pop a little bit of color in the center before the white goes in so you can still see a bit of the center. And I also wanted to mention that I did sketch this in pastel pencil versus a regular pencil. This is a General's Pastel Chalk in light gray. And I mean, it looks kind of like the color of a soft graphite. But that way I'm not smearing graphite and it kind of blends in a little bit better. A little bit better, rather. And what I'm working on here is watercolor paper. They do sell pastel paper, but I already had watercolor paper, and the idea with pastels, especially soft pastels rather, is that if you are working with them, you want a grittier tooth on your paper, which just means that it's more textured. So like a piece of copy paper, you could probably make a mark on it, but it wouldn't hold as well. You wouldn't be able to get the color that you want on it and everything. I'm getting this pastel everywhere, trying to clean up more pastel. I want to add more detail to this, but I'm struggling. Don't worry, just because I'm jumping to the background does not mean that we are done by any means. I wanted to do the darker before I jump to the white because it is so light. I don't want it to smudge too much. I mean, I know we've already smudged a little bit, but we don't want it to get worse. And I am using the side of it to cover more space. And I'm doing darker in the front and lighter in the back to give the illusion of depth. Oh crap, I didn't even notice I did that. I'll fix that. Oh, I look like Shrek. Alright, I need to take a break and clean because this is getting out of hand. Since I wiped down my desk, the color did stain. That's not a huge deal for me. I need to repaint this desk anyway. While I was doing that, I just tapped this off so all the loose stuff would come off too. I need to bring these leaves out more. I'm just trying to figure out how to do so. I will go back to the leaves. I just want to imply some of these little yellow flowers. And I'm just gonna do that with some of these little dots. Alright, so I did take a moment and I used just a regular like plastic eraser to get rid of that smudge the best I could. And let's go ahead and fix these leaves again now, basically redoing them. Alright, so I couldn't get the detail that I wanted. Again, not super fluent with the medium, but I think I'm about done. So as usual, alright, that didn't look very good. As usual, don't forget to sign your work. Signing it a little bigger than I normally would, just because I'm struggling with detail with this. It probably would have come out a little better if I worked bigger. But I mean, I'm not unhappy with, yeah, I'm a little unhappy with this spot. Hang on. It's a little better. I think if I was able to get a little bit more detail, and if I had used like chalk pastel pencils on top of like a base coat of regular chalk, or if I worked bigger, I feel like I could have gotten a little bit better. But also, again, not super fluent with the medium, and I don't think that I did the best image. I was trying to find something that's light and fluffy because I thought that would work. I think I just needed something really close up. So next time I play with these, I'll probably do something in macro, which that basically just means something that's super zoomed in. So if I did like an animal with like fur and I just did like maybe their nose or their eye, I feel like that would have worked a lot better. But I'm not unhappy with it. I just know that I probably could have done a better job in something else or with more experience. But with that being said, I hope you liked my video. I hope you liked my art. If you don't, just like last week, this is not my normal kind of video. So if you aren't super in love with how this came out and you're like, ooh, I don't know if I want to sub to her, I just ask that you give me another shot. Either stick around for next week's video or go look at my previous videos and see what you think of them before you make your final decision, if you would be so kind. But with that being said, don't forget to be artsy, and I'll see you next week.